Hello, this is Insane Monster with the second part of What If Deku Had the Two Tails. Now, I do apologize for not being able to upload and such for the few days. I've had to do some things for my families. Ugh. Some of them are having trouble getting around, and others just can't go into stores due to the fact of the quarantine, so I have to help them shop for things because of this. So there's that. But let's just begin with the what if. So hit it.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is just for us now.
Now then, when we last left off, it was the morning of the exam. We have Deku going up the steps, getting all pumped up for the exam to be able to be a part of the UA Hero course. Though he ends up tripping, obviously being caught by Uraraka. He's surprised by this, and she just hurries up and gets over there before he's able to say anything. But then Matsutabe chimes in saying, she looks like a cute girl. Maybe you might get along with her if you and her get into UA, huh? With Deku just telling about Neko that's what he's calling her right now. Okay, you need to stop. Every time I get near a girl or something like that, you keep pulling this. What's up? Neko just chimes in stating, well, my previous Jinchuriki had a thing for romantic novels, and being stuck inside her body, I saw through her eyes, so I kind of got hooked on them too. And watching you a little bit awkward around women is my only thing I have to substitute that. And Deku just says, okay, there are 9 of you, right? He said yes. And for some reason, I end up with the romance-loving novel Giant Blue Cat. With Neko saying, I am not a cat. And Deku remarks, well, you sure look like one. As they just hurry up and get in there. He does well on the theory exam, writing down on basically the paper test. Then he heads out to the meeting room where President Mike explains everything. With Neko saying, this man is quite loud despite not using a microphone. Deku tells her that it's President Mike. He has a quirk that amplifies his voice, even to the point of using it as a weapon. With her saying, so basically, it's using sound to cause harm to villains, right? He just says, basically. And this is all in like the mental state, so he doesn't actually say it out loud. Once everything is clear, they go over to the battle testing grounds where Izuku is in a sleeveless shirt and some shorts stretching out, with some people looking at him with the markings on his arm and such, with Ida stating, are you really trying to get into UA with those tattoos? He just looks at Ida and says, they aren't actually tattoos, they're part of my quirk. As he focuses making the markings he has because of the two tails glow, with either just saying, oh, okay then. Once President Mike says to begin, instantly a blue flame tail comes out of Izuku, and flame claws on his hands and feet, along with blue flame cat ears, appear on him, and he goes full on in, using them to slice robots left and right, even using the tail to crush them. When he picked up some pieces of robots that were jagged and sharp, focusing some wind chakra in them to cut up the robots a good bit more, and also throwing them to destroy two other robots that were about to attack some of the other examinees. They're interested in this, thinking that maybe it isn't a typically fire, but something that just normally takes the form of it, thinking that it might be some type of energy quirk given how what he just did. As he begins racking up points left and right, we get to the part where the zero pointer enters in, and Deku just looks at it, with Neku saying, "That seems a bit excessive for a test." Before, when they were going to leave, they heard a girl yell out. When he looks, he sees that it's Uraraka, and he hurries up and runs towards the zero pointer that's about to crush her, with Neko, hence the two tails, saying, excuse me, do you have an actual plan? And Deku just says, no, I do not. I just started running. And he says, oh, you have got to be kidding me. She hurries up and blazes a good amount of her flames on Deku's arms and legs, even beefing up the claws to get bigger, as he's got the robot from the treads lifting it up a bit. They can tell that it isn't really doing much for how huge it is, with her saying, okay, we can't keep this up for long, but we gotta do something. With Deku asking, if we could reach the head, if we could end this, but it's a bit far, and I'm afraid if we let it go, she's gonna get crushed. With Matsutabi saying, alright, I'm taking over the left arm. Wait, what are you doing? As he takes over the flames of the left arm to make a hand, stretching it out over to its head, creating a two-tail style Rasengan, pouring a lot of chakra into it to make it a giant Rasengan, and slamming it into its face, full on destroying the head. And since it was already tilted backward from Izuku lifting it up, it just fell over on its back. Once that was done, the flames went away, and he said, okay, it's down. And so am I, as he just falls over. This is when the exam is ended, and Recovery Girl comes by, healing people who get injured, and when she gets to Deku, she examines him and doesn't see anything physically wrong, so she just states, perhaps you overextended your abilities a little bit and put too much strain on yourself, as it pulls Deku away to go into the infirmary to rest. Back in the mindscape, Izuku is awake in his mindscape with the two tails stating what happened. with Neko stating that, yeah, too much body was being pumped out of your all at once, and it ended up overloading your system, forcing you to pass out. Our connection isn't really that perfect yet, so you can only handle so much power at a time to be released. We succeeded that limit by pulling that stunt, lifting up that giant ass robot like that, and using the a giant Rasengan, destroying its head. With Deku stating, "Ugh, even in the mindscape, I have a headache." Not sure how that works since I'm not in my since my physical body isn't here, but I don't know how this works. With the Two Tails chiming in stating, "Well, your body was carried over into what seems to be a nurse's office, so you'll be fine. Just have a rest, and you'll be good to go." As as he wakes up after that, he just sits up with his all of his joints cracking and popping since he was just laying there for a while all stiff. Recovery girl saw that he was waking up and asked him a few questions about his quirk, asking why did he pass out, since he didn't see anything physically wrong with him. Uh, Deku just gave a version that she could understand from what Machitabi said, that he used too much energy using his quirk and ended up passing out because of it. So Recovery Girl grasped that much and sent him on his way as he was and headed home. And we do a bit of a skip all the way to the point where Deku gets his entry lander and sees that he actually got in. After that, we get all the way to the first day of UA, where Deku is surprised to see the door. And the Two Tails says, "Huh, are people supposed to be large enough for to need a door that large?" With Deku saying, "Well, since quirks appeared, I would assume some people are very large." As they walk in, obviously they see Bakugo and Ida arguing, with Neko saying, "Of course, that ignorant whelp would argue with someone over something so stupid on the first day of school. He really needs an attitude adjustment." With Deku's telling her, "I'm not gonna argue with her, not gonna argue with you, but I'm also not gonna say that out loud because I'd rather not have him try to blow my face off." Which is when everyone noticed him with Ida walking up, explaining how he's a better student than him, seeing the hidden criteria of the hero test. Before he could say anything to tell him that wasn't it, Ochako showed up behind him, saying that she recognizes that messy hair, thanking him for saving her, with him saying, "Oh, it's no problem," with Neko chiming in saying, "Oh, looks like you might actually have a shot with her. I think you should go for it." With Deku just getting annoyed saying, "Can you please be quiet, cat?" Then, obviously, Aizawa just pops in, telling them to be quiet, and they just looking at this man sleep, just kind of slurping some kind of drink from a bag inside of a sleeping bag, with all of them saying, "What the hell is this?" As he introduces himself as a teacher, telling everybody to get dressed. He and says that this is his class and he can run it however he feels like it. Obviously, we get to the point where everybody is getting dressed and such, where common, sorry, getting to the point where Kirishima sees Deku's markings, asking, "Whoa, are those tattoos?" He just states again, "No, these are just a part of my quirk." And with Kirishima saying, "Well, they look pretty awesome, real manly." With him saying, yeah. As they go out onto the field, they, with Aizawa tossing a ball to Deku, telling him to throw it, since he got the highest score in the entrance exam. He just goes off, covering his entire arm in blue flames, amping it up, reeling back to give it a nice strong toss. 1,000 meters. And everyone's shocked from that. With them being pumped to be able to use their quirks in this exam, Aizawa states that the person who loses in going in last place will be expelled. With all of them terrified of being expelled on the first day. So we continue with the exam, and Izuku does really well in all of the categories. And as for the last place, I believe her name is Hakakure, the invisible girl, with Aizawa stating that, "Looks like you're going home, kid." But then Deku chimes in saying that this isn't really a good assessment of her abilities as a hero. With him saying, "What do you mean? Are you questioning my judgment?" He states, "I'm questioning whether or not these tests are good for judging how a person is as being a hero. There's nothing for taking down any villains or anything like that. Plus, you can't just judge somebody so easily and then expel them on the first day." With Aizawa using his quirk, sewing off his eyes, instantly the Two Tails took offense to this as a threat, and then blared her powers through Deku, showing off the two different colored eyes, and for a moment, Aizawa saw it, the Two Tails, just for an instant, and he felt really afraid at that moment, as he just says, "Fine, he isn't expelled, but if she doesn't show any potential in being a hero, I'm holding you responsible," as he just walks away. With Hagakure coming up to Deku thanking him. With his eyes still the same way, he can see kind of an outline of life energy around her. So he can, and remarks, "Huh, you actually seem pretty decent." With her surprise, saying, "Wait, you can see me? But I'm invisible." But he just states that, "Well, I can see more or less an outline of your features. That's about it." With her bowing, thanking him for standing up for her. With Matsutabe chiming in again, saying, "Oh, is the zero gravity girl not your type? I'm surprised you would go for someone that you couldn't even see their face." With him getting annoyed again, saying, "Please stop. I really can't stand you continuously doing this all the time. With the Two Tails just laughing, saying, well, too bad. It's the only entertainment I can find that substitutes not having any reading material that I like. With him just getting frustrated again. As everyone goes home, the same people, but this time along with Hagakure, thanking him again as they leave, head off to the train station to go home. And which is when we get to the next day, where All Might bursts in with his Silver Age costume that has that cape and states that they're going to be doing hero training, revealing that it's actual combat. Telling everybody to get their hero suits on and head to the battlefield. As for Izuku's quirk, the suit he chooses for his quirk, it's a shirtless, kind of shirt sleeveless thing like you see in the thumbnail, with a mask, metal mask similar to his upgraded version of the costume. Some fingerless gloves that go all the way up his forearms, black combat pants with metal boots and such, along with a scarf that wraps around a good bit, a couple of times around his neck and such, along with some pouches for ninja tools and such that he practiced using based off of what the Two Tails told him about using them. So the same thing happens as in canon, where they're divided up into the same teams, with Deku telling Uraraka that Bakugo is probably going to go right after them once it starts. And while he takes care of Bakugo, she should hurry up and head to the bomb. He agrees, and obviously Bakugo goes straight for him, attacking right out, and with Deku flaring up his claws and such, he sticks to the walls and uses his claws to dig into the walls, jumping around using his flame tail to smack Bakugo around. Obviously, he does get pretty injured, a couple of injuries, but nothing more than scrapes and bruises, since he's restraining himself, since it's just a class exercise. With Bakugo getting furious more and more, he just has enough and then charges up his gauntlet to fire, with All Might yelling at him to stop before it's too late. He uses his tail to hurry up and cover himself to try to block it, but is still pushed back a good bit. But no serious damage. With Neko stating, "What is this kid's problem? Attitude aside, that was too much for class exercise." With Deku saying, "Yeah, I know, but hot-headed is like his default setting." As he gets up standing, with Bakugo walking towards him and All Might stating that if he fires that kind of attack again, then his team will lose automatically. With Matatabe saying, "We should end this quickly. If, if this goes on, who knows how much more damage he'll cause to the building until it collapses on top of us." He says, "All right, we'll end this quickly with the Rasengan." He states, "All right, go for it. I'll use my tail in case he tries something tricky. Right when he uses his Rasengan, he goes straight for Bakugo, but he uses his explosion to try to evade. But the Two Tails controls the tail that forms out of Deku, grabbing his leg, tossing him directly back into the path of the Rasengan, blasting him in the gut, sending him flying into the wall, knocking him out. He isn't dead, but he is pretty hurt. Deku uses the capture tape to capture Bakugo, which All Might announces, and hurries up to get to the bomb, asking Machitabe to sense where they are. He senses and tells him which floor they're on, stating that Uraraka's having trouble getting to the bomb with Ida just running around. So once he gets there, he hurries up and goes straight for Ida. He runs away, trying to get away from Deku, seeing him as a really, really big combative threat. Which is when Deku takes a smoke bomb, throwing it right in front of Ida, blinding him. When he tries to get out of there, right when he exits the smoke, he's met with Deku there, full on kicking him in the face, sending him flying, using the tail to grab the bomb. With the announcement that the hero teams won. After that, we have it where All Might explains that Deku is the MVP of this exercise, and people get why. Though not really much of an explanation. Everything else goes pretty much as in canon with the other matches, and once they get to the class and are cleaning stuff up, his classmates ask him something, and while also telling him that he was great during that exercise. And with Todoroki asking, what exactly is your quirk? It doesn't seem quite normal. It first seems as blue flames with those odd markings on it, but it also takes that spear form. Deku explains that it's more like an energy-based quirk, but in its most common form is those blue flames with the black markings in it. But it can take other forms, he just has to focus more on it. Todoroki is currently satisfied with that explanation and lets it be at that. And yeah, this is where the day ends, and we'll continue this in the next part, which will be part 3. Now then, a little announcement. There is a poll on my community tab of my channel that states asking whether or not you guys want me to, after the what ifs that will get a new part from winning the previous polls, as well as the one picked from the what if lotto winner, after those get their new part, that all what ifs that only have a single part on my channel will get a second part. So holding off on all of the holding off the randomness of all this, so that the what ifs that only have a single part will get a a second one. So please keep that in mind. If you want to vote on that, please go to the my channel and to the community tab to vote. Also, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future what if uploads, as well as information or to be able to vote on any of the other polls that will come in the future. Hope So see you later, guys. Hope you enjoyed.